So then somebody asked, Chen Qifeng, yeah, you asked about pseudoscience. Could you, do you want to tell us your question live?
Yeah, thank you. Because actually, traditionally, um, many techniques used in like the, for example, like Chinese traditional qigong or feng shui, they are heavily criticized by the scientists as pseudoscience because they are unfalsifiable.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see how should we respond to this criticism from the scientists. Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, and this is actually really, really good point and really important, right? The question of pseudoscience, right? As you asked in the chat, the 伪科学, right? And I think first of all, many people who do qigong or who do traditional Chinese medicine or who do feng shui, they claim that it's a science, and actually it's not a science. So these people should stop saying that qigong is a science or that feng shui is a science. You know, it's not a science. It's certainly not modern science. Maybe it's a kind of traditional science, in the sense of traditional system of knowledge. So I know, you know, I've actually written a book about this, like in qigong, you know, they tried so hard in the 1980s and 1990s to say, yes, we are scientific, you know, look, it's good for health, look, it's this, look, you know, we're doing these exercises and we can heal people, and you know, this is science, this is qigong keshui, and you know, and they were just so excited about it. But they shouldn't, you know, if the way I see it, right, it's a different ontology, it's a different operating system. It has its own logic. It has its own logic. And it should not pretend to be something that it's not, right? So science, modern science, follows naturalist ontology. And qigong does not follow naturalist ontology. It's a different operating system, or feng shui. So they should not pretend to be something that they are not. So this is the first thing. So they shouldn't claim to be science. The secondly, is that often these practices are criticized because these people are just doing you know, they are fooling people with qigong and feng shui and things like that. So how are they fooling people? Well, first of all, because, so actually at the root of something like qigong or Chinese medicine or feng shui, right, there is this Chinese analogical operating system. And actually, you know, if you study it, you learn it, you enter its, right, you switch the operating system, you try to get into it, you even practice, then you will realize, you start to understand the logic of it, and you start to realize that it has it has its own logic, its own truth, and it has its own positive effect. But most people don't know anything about it. Like, they don't understand what is the logic underlying it. And so then the masters, like the feng shui master, qigong master, can just kind of tell them any kind of, you know, hu shou ba dao. Just, you know, and nobody knows, most people have no idea, right? So either they believe it completely or they completely disbelieve it, right? So this is the first problem. And the second problem, they part of the way the marketing works is, the more complex and mysterious it sounds, somehow they sound like greater masters, right? So these feng shui masters with extremely complex calculations and things like that, I mean, the more complicated it is, somehow the more they can charge people, the more they can, impress people and things like that. So the fact that the operating system has its value doesn't mean that every feng shui master is honest, and that every qigong master is honest. And so many of the criticisms of what's going on qigong, of feng shui, and things like that, many of these criticisms are quite valid because people are just misusing, distorting or misusing these kinds of practices, or exaggerating or twisting. And a lot of people are just kind of blindly, believing in anything, right? And so when you have that, the combination of that, the dishonest or exaggerating qigong or feng shui master, and then the person who is kind of blindly believing anything, combine that together, you're going to have a lot of problems. So that's why I think we should understand these operating systems and understand them critically, so that in order to avoid being right, in order to avoid these kind of cheating or swindling, right? This kind of 骗局, right? Yeah.